Welcome to Candid Comments. Good to have you back again. I'm Shirley Readdean, and we have some interesting guests today. We have Karen Johnson, who is a county legislator, and we have Lori Bachelador, who is the manager of senior and long-term services for Schenectady County. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
Now, it's very interesting. When I asked you to be here and you said, well, I'd like to invite Karen Johnson also, and I thought that was very nice, but couldn't figure out the connection of Karen Johnson, and it's okay with me if that's what you wanted to do. But I understand the connection is really quite important, so if you would kind of, so the audience will know why we've invited Karen.
Well, thank you. I happen to be kind of the county legislature's liaison to the Office for Senior and Long-Term Care. So it's one of my special duties to keep track of them, which I can do by reading their minutes and so forth and following their programs, and when I can, attending.
Now, the senior care services, is that the old Office of the Aging?
Yes.
I thought that's what that was. And it's kind of nice to have it be senior care, as Office of the Aging was kind of,
Well,
it kind of
includes
aged out.
long-term care, not
And
just
long-term
seniors.
care.
So you can have consumers who are not
I
seniors
see.
who need long-term care, so the name is senior and long-term care.
So that's really a combination of all kinds of
Yes,
services.
correct.
Would you like to share what some of those services might be?
Well, we do the traditional Office for the Aging services, which a lot of people are familiar with, the home-delivered meals, congregate meals, home care services for persons who are not on Medicaid, setting up some home care services, information and assistance through New York Connects, caregiver support, those traditional Office for the Aging services through the New York State Office for the Aging funding. And then we have a merged unit of long-term care caseworkers and nurses from Medicaid DSS, so that we have a combination of caseworkers in both units, so we can serve a cross-section of consumers.
So where do these consumers or clients, I guess you would call them consumer clients, where do they come from?
A lot of seniors are always looking for the Office for the Aging.
Really?
So if you Google Office for the Aging, senior and long-term care comes up. So all of those clients find us pretty well. As for the Medicaid consumers, that's always been a DSS unit, and they can get on the county's website for Department of Social Services Long-Term Care, and it'll take us to our department.
So are there referrals also, like from other agencies?
Oh, yeah. All the agencies that do any kind of services for long-term care clients or Office for the Aging senior clients are very familiar with our office and what we offer.
So as a liaison person, are you also helping them to advocate for certain things that they...
Well, we do that from time to time. I think what we're finding more and more is that the government hasn't recognized all the changes that are taking place in this field, and we haven't really had increases in funding in the last few years.
And I find that very interesting, because it would seem to me that this is going to be much more of a challenging department than it's ever been.
Yeah.
It appears that the country's aging faster than the people who are in charge of the aging services are able to keep up with.
You're absolutely right. We have more and more seniors and caregivers. The baby boomers are now here. We have arrived, and we're in need of services for not just ourselves, but sometimes we're caring for our older loved one.
I see that
So
a
we have
lot.
services in both age groups, and there's a lot of us. And the baby boomers are going to be taking those service needs, and we need, as you said, to see an increase in funding across the country to address this.
It looks like there's going to have to be a shifting in priorities of how
I hope so.
where people begin to look at funding.
Yeah.
I've often thought that we, as a nation, we are so proud and brag of the fact that we can keep people healthy and they're older. And I know on one of the news shows they used to, when they had the 100-year-old person, it was a big occasion.
Oh, yeah.
And now they have a list of about 10
Yeah.
people,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like 104, 103,
Yeah,
100.
oh.
And the first time I heard that, and I'm like, there used to be this, like 2 people, and everybody was all excited about it. So that's going to be the norm, apparently.
Well, we're keeping people healthy. We've done a pretty good job with that.
And we're also now saying that it's less expensive to keep you in your own
Yes.
home, but we haven't figured out how to do
How
that.
to do it. And I've noticed that a lot. And of course, I myself, I'm really very happy because I'm quite healthy. And I have children who are always constantly looking at ways to
Right.
help me to be able to stay home and to do different kinds of things. But but they are now aging also.
Yeah, right.
And the one couple, they're talking about retirement, and it was hard for me to. Oh my goodness!
My daughter's
Yes, they're talking about retirement. And so and that's how fast this thing has
Yeah,
moved along.
yeah.
But now tell me about this fun senior picnic. That sounds
Yeah,
like a fun thing.
We do a special event every summer. It's the annual senior picnic, and we have a save the date right now.
Ah.
We're not taking reservations yet, but it is on Wednesday, August 10th, from 11 to 2 at Central Park. And we're going to hopefully have a barbershop quartet and a nice
Wow.
summer picnic. And we've got a DJ coming.
Party
It does cost
time.
money. You do have to make a reservation and pay for the picnic, but we try to keep the costs
I was
to
going
a
to say it
minimum.
probably isn't
No,
astronomical.
It's not a lot of money, and
Right.
we do our own cooking, and our staff closes the office, and everybody serves. And then we work with Catholic Charities, who helps with transportation as well.
Well, I can vouch for the fact that when you are responsible for something with the aged, you really do. I had the opportunity to see some of that service, having been nominated one of the Senior Citizens of the
yeah.
Year, and the care that you gave us was just amazing. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, don't worry, you have a ride. Don't worry, we're going to do this. Don't worry, we're going to do that. And it was just like, oh, well, I can get there. No, that's fine. But I really reflect on that and think how caring your staff was and how nice that was. And I say that so people will know if they go there, they're going to be really treated well. And with there's a human element in there that
Right.
they're people.
Well, we're very aware of the disabilities that seniors are challenged with, so all of the staff is prepared at any time to help in any way they can. And at the senior picnic, it's an all staff everybody puts out
Everything out.
and everything works. But it's fun. This is supposed to be our third picnic.
Sounds like fun.
So
See, I think this office is an interesting sort of combination of things. They help people with really serious problems, and they don't know what to do, and so they have ways of attaching them to some support systems. But they, meanwhile, have a lot of
Have
things
fun.
that are fun, that are social, because one of the issues that many seniors face is
Exactly.
isolation in the community.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have fun.
Yeah.
Much better.
And that's so important. And I think we're learning more and more that any age you have to have some fun involvement and social engagement. And so it's just wonderful to see that. And like I said, I can testify the fact that office. And it's very interesting also because you have some fairly young staff,
Yes.
which I found interesting. But they're sensitive to the fact that they're dealing with senior
You
citizens.
do a lot of training.
Yeah, I
A
guess.
lot of education. The staff is trained every month on another topic. And so that's really important for our staff to be ready to handle and understand senior and long-term care issues. So we
So
spend
you
a lot
meant-
of that.
You mentioned the Medicare changes or the Medicaid. You had a phrase for it.
It's the long-term care Medicaid consumers.
Yes,
Long-term
but
care.
there's a
The
different.
Oh, the Medicaid redesign.
I knew you
Redesign.
had a phrase, and I was
Yes.
trying redesign.
Right.
Kind of talk a little bit about that.
The state, about 3 years ago, started pushing out a way to deal with Medicaid long-term care in new and creative ways. And so part of that system is an overhaul at the local county district level. And so in effect, what used to be a fee-for-service, in which a Medicaid consumer might have come to our office and they needed home care, or they needed maybe the PERS Lifeline, the button, or they needed transportation. It was a fee-for-service, and Medicaid paid that Medicaid person for that. That has been turned around, and we are now enrolling Medicaid seniors and long-term care consumers into managed long-term care companies like Fidelis, for example.
So it's like a health insurance
It's like a
program.
health insurance program.
Okay.
And then they have a care manager with their health insurance program.
Hmm.
So not all of long-term care Medicaid clients are going into managed long-term care, but a lot of them are. So a lot of our clients have been transitioning over the last year in particular, and we help them. Our caseworkers work with them. We teach them the system of how do you get into a managed care company, who are they, how do we help transition our caseworkers to your new caseworker, and that is part of what our office does. We do a lot with that.
And it's new for all these insurance
And
companies.
it's
all
got
new
to
for
be
the
extremely
insurance
challenging
companies.
to try to, especially when you're dealing with an older population that is used to one way of doing.
They're used to,
it.
I want my x-ray,
Exactly.
Medicaid just pays for it.
Exactly.
Well, no, now your managed care company will determine if you're eligible
If you
for
need
the
that
x-ray.
at that point in time
Yes,
or whatever. And so, yeah, and
But some of the clients don't leave. Some clients are not being mandated to do this. The
so it's-
OPWDD
so is there,
consumers, for example.
let me make sure I understand that. So there's a choice factor still?
No, there's not a choice factor. It depends if you're in a waiver program, it's called, which means some clients, like an OPWDD client, person with a disability.
Don't do
which
acronyms.
is-
Don't do
which
acronyms.
is Office for Persons with Developmental Disabilities.
Okay.
If they are in a program that takes care of their services, they do not need to
I
go
see.
to a managed care company.
Because that would be kind of redundant.
Because that would just, they're already doing that.
They're already doing it, right.
So they haven't been, so those clients still stay with our office to work with their agents.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I interpreted it to
everybody.
be that there was a choice, and I wouldn't want people to listen to that and say,
And
well,
we also, if you're in long-term care and your service is just for homemaker services,
Mhm.
cleaning services, they stay in the county and our office manages it. But as soon as you need anything called personal care,
Mhm.
meaning taking a shower, helping
right.
with personal service, that's where the transition to managed care comes in.
And so, and then they have a caseworker
Then they
who
have a caseworker
identifies those
yes,
needs
and
and-
works with the managed care company to do that.
So we don't really have a report card on that system yet, do we?
It's brand new. It's being tested right now across the state, but our caseload has gone down significantly.
Isn't that interesting?
So,
Well, I think it's obvious that we're coming into an era where we really have to look at, and it goes back to we're aging.
yeah.
And so
yeah.
there has to be ways of looking at how to provide services and how to still have it be a humane system. We're not
And
strict-
comprehensible.
yes, yes. And so there's a real challenge in all of
And
that.
those system changes are hard for seniors. It's hard for caregivers.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, what does that mean? I don't understand. You're changing the way we get services.
Well, yes.
Yes, we are.
And you're throwing me out, and
Yeah, and that's how it feels sometimes.
I can appreciate that. And anything else you'd like to share?
Well, we also do a lot of bus trips. We do 4 bus trips a year. This is a fun one. And just coming up in June, we're doing the Delaney House Lobster Fest
Yum.
in Holyoke, Massachusetts.
When is that?
That's on June 23rd. And it's a 50-person bus, and it's already filled.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
tomorrow. No, the
that's-
day after tomorrow.
Yeah, it's already filled.
Wow.
This will be our second
So I
trip
guess I
this
won't be
year.
doing lobster
You won't
this
be doing
year.
that this year.
Oh, well.
Maybe next year.
Oh, well.
That's the type of bus trips we do.
That sounds like. So how do we know when these bus trips are going to be?
You call our office and you get on the bus trip list, and then I have a staffer just responsible for that. And Rosalind Warlick will take your name down and say, well, we've got a trip in September, we have a trip in December.
Now, I know he's going to put it up, but call your office.
At 382-8481.
382-8481.
Yep.
And then ask for you, or
Well,
just say you want the bus
Most
list?
of our calls start in what's called the New York Connects line. And this is that young gentleman that you met. His name is Dan Garrow.
He is awesome.
Everything starts through him, and he is able to then triage all of those phone calls to the right staff. So all you have to do is call the office and ask for the New York Connects line. And it just moves right into me. It might move into the caseworkers in long-term care.
Whatever it is you're looking for.
Whatever you're looking for. And
Right.
he's very good at helping you If you don't know what you're looking for, or what
identify.
to say,
Yeah.
he'll help you figure out what you need.
Yeah, and I imagine you get calls where people, they're not sure what it is they
Yeah.
want, but they know this is the place
This
to
is the
go
place
get
to
it.
start.
Right, right.
Yeah. I mean, we also have the legal service. We have a free legal service.
Tell me about
once
the
a week.
legal service.
That's once a week. We have a 3-hour slot with an attorney who will offer half-hour appointments for persons who don't have an attorney, and try to help you with your wills and power of attorneys and getting all those end-of-life documents
And it's
in
so
place.
important. Yes.
And so that's another one. You call the Air Connects and you'll get popped right into getting an appointment with him.
So this is, I think that we're finding out, or I'm finding out, that this is larger than I ever imagined,
Yeah.
with all the types of services, and then with this new Medicaid piece coming in.
Yeah.
So you're really challenged to get all of this.
And we
happen.
try to offer a combination of real services, like you said, home care, or Medicaid redesign, or trips, picnics, or the Friendship Cafe, which is another social.
Yeah, tell me a little bit
Our
about
Friendship
that. I have that
Cafe
underlined here.
is
Yeah.
is a program that we offer at the Apostrophe Cafe at Proctor's, right in their lobby
I
there.
know where that is.
Once a
yes.
month, and we do it for 2 hours, and it's really an educational senior educational moment, and we get lots of different speakers, and attendance can be small or it could be very big,
Depending on what you're offering.
depending what the
So
topic
they have
is.
coffee and
They can go get their coffee
hang out.
at the cafe,
Mhm.
and then they can bring it back to the Friendship Cafe, we call it. And
So is that over in that little
it's over
side?
in the corner
Yeah,
of the Apostrophe Cafe.
that's neat.
And it's worked out really well because you get the 2 hours free parking down there. It's accessible. They can get their breakfast, and then they meet with friends.
And then I was going to say, and there's some socialization.
There's socialization
that goes on.
and
Yeah.
education going on.
All-
Because one of the things I stress all the time is seniors have to become educated on everything that's happening.
Mhm.
I mean, the Alzheimer's field is changing, the caregiver fields are changing, Medicaid is changing. So we try to line up these monthly speakers to kind of give you an opportunity to stay on top of it, like we have senior scams and thefts, understanding
Oh,
senior scams.
Yeah, someone was telling me the other
Yeah.
day that they got that one of their relatives got a call, one of those IRS
Oh,
calls,
yeah.
and was just about to give, but she walked in just as she said, "Who
Yeah.
are you talking?" And she said, "The IRS, and they want this number."
Yeah.
And she said, "No, you don't do that."
I always say to seniors, if you think about it, call us first,
Right.
because we can help you determine if it's
And the
a
scammers
scam.
are out there.
Oh, they're out there.
Right.
Yeah.
They're out
And
there.
they call and they recall.
And they
And
keep
yes,
it up.
it's- that's
Keep
what-
calling you.
yes.
That's what she said, that they did that, and then 2 hours later, someone called again, and so she took the phone, because her mother or whatever it was said, "It's the IRS again," and she took the phone and she said, "I'm about to call the police," and they hung right up. Yeah,
Yeah.
That'll fix them.
yeah, that took care of that one.
So the
But-
Friendship Cafe is fun because it's not just education, it's also socializing.
Yeah, and that's important.
Like we do a tour of Vale Cemetery, or, it's not just education. Sometimes it's history of Schenectady
And
County.
that works, that's good too.
And, promoting downtown.
And we're in a very extremely historical area
Yeah.
that has so many stories to tell.
So-
And some of the seniors have some of the best
Oh,
stories.
I'm a
actually.
believer.
They have great
I'm-
stories.
Yeah, I'm a believer. Well, I find myself, because I've been here so many years, that I find myself saying, "Well, I remember when such and such a village," and they go, "Really?" And then I'll tell them, "Well, yeah, because
I know. What seems like part of your life, everybody thinks is new information.
And exactly, and so then I'll tell them. The other day I was talking about the Carl store,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and someone said, "Well, where
Where's
was
the
that?"
Carl
Yeah,
store?
where was that? And I said, "It was right where the Proctor's."
Or Barney's or some other one.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice though, and all of a sudden you begin to realize that, oh my goodness, I carry history.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So anything else that you would like to
Well, I think what's important is a big part of one of our services is caregiving.
caregive?
It is not unusual for us to get phone calls from daughters and sons in other parts of the state or across the country
Concerned about-
because their mom or dad are here in
Right.
Schenectady. And so again, we do a little bit of a screening, what is it you're looking for? And then we help them know what the services are in this county that they could begin to access for their mom or dad.
So when you say caregiving, can you break that down a little bit more as to what that?
Caregiving would be a daughter, a son, a child who is very worried about mom or dad living alone in Schenectady.
Okay.
They're a caregiver. Could be a spouse.
Oh,
You
so it's not the.
It's not necessarily a professional.
That's.
It could be.
Yeah.
Professionals are considered caregivers too.
Right.
People that come in your home and do personal care, they're caregivers.
And that's kind of what I was thinking, and I wanted to kind of understand more. So it's both. It's both and.
Yeah.
Because
but the caregivers I'm referring to are mainly family or friends.
it's like my daughters might
Yeah.
call and say,
Yes.
you know, I'm over here in Switzerland,
Yep.
and Mom doesn't sound too good. I wonder, you know,
Right.
somebody. Yeah. How do I get someone to come look in after her?
And they may not know where they can get help.
Right.
So our office is able to say, well, there's some great home care agencies. You know, maybe we can get her the PERS, the Personal Emergency
Right.
Response button, and get her set up with that or him set up with that. And then we offer support groups and one-on-one counseling. So somebody who's not a senior can walk in and we can do some one-on-one counseling with him or her who might be taking care of a loved one and do some counseling, and then we offer the support groups. And the support groups are important because especially with all the dementia and Alzheimer's that
Takes
older
a
people
lot out of people.
takes a lot.
Yes.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And we have wonderful resources for caregivers on Alzheimer's and dementia in our office.
So it's interesting because actually you're a resource center.
We are.
You're a service provider.
Yep.
You're trainers.
We are
You're
educators.
educators. So you just it's a whole bag that you
Yeah.
supervise
Very comprehensive
and manage.
office.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's such a small space.
Plus,
But
they
all
have to keep on top of the new trends
Yes.
and try and identify unmet needs every year. That
Yep.
goes on. So I think that any of your viewers who know an unmet need,
Yeah.
we'd love to hear from them.
Yeah.
And this is why I invited you to come on because, actually, I have to admit I didn't know anything about
Yeah.
because, well, it's like until you have a need,
Right.
I guess you don't.
usually don't
you
reach out till you have a
don't-
need.
Exactly.
But I feel you need to be educated before you need the need.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make
I
sense.
don't want you coming in when you need the need. I want you to understand what's happening.
Well, when I
beforehand.
first got the phone call, it was from New York Connect Now, and I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah. What does that mean?
what
am I connecting
what
to?
am I connecting to? You know,
Connecting
And
information.
I had no idea what
Yeah.
that was. So if I had no idea, and I consider myself
Yeah.
fairly up on what's going on,
Yeah.
you think of people who really don't.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I do a lot of public speaking. I go to churches, I
Yeah.
go to community groups to try to senior centers and senior apartment complexes to try to educate people on what's going on in the senior.
So I'm glad you
world.
mentioned that. So if an organization or a church women's group or something wanted to invite you, you
Yes.
do go out
Oh,
and
yeah.
speak.
We do PowerPoints, we do presentations all
Uh-huh.
the time. I'm
Okay.
out in the community as much as I can be.
So they would call
They would call them 382-8481 and ask for Lori. I'm the manager, and we'll schedule an appointment. I try to get out there as much as I can.
Excellent, excellent,
Yep.
because that's something I think people aren't aware of either. That's why I like Candid Comments, because I can bring on people that people aren't really aware of what they do or what services are out there, you know, and it's amazing you can live in a city forever and not know.
And I think the traditional Office for the Aging Services, even those are changing. I mean, the days of home-delivered meals, you know, they used to be called Meals on Wheels.
Yes.
Now they're called home-delivered meals. And
I
yet,
was going to ask you if that's the same
that's
thing.
the same thing. But now we have
A
the
rose is a rose
supermarkets.
is a rose.
Supermarkets are now offering
that's right. They're
instant
bringing-
meals.
yes.
And you can call. I mean, this is what we say to caregivers. They're like, oh, I don't want mom to have a home-delivered meal, but can I order her groceries?
Yes.
Yes, you can. You can call the big supermarkets
Right.
now, set up an account, and have food delivered. I mean, that's a shift. That's a whole new way of serving seniors in a different way.
Let me tell you, I have a daughter that lives in New York, and she is not she's not a senior yet. She's on her way. She has they have their food delivered
Yeah.
from a
From a
market.
supermarket, yeah.
And she said it's so much easier because she's busy and he's
Yeah.
busy, and so they just dial up and have it
And
delivered.
they have registered dietitians, all those
Right,
supermarkets. So if
right.
you have a special diet, they can make that
They know
arrangement.
how to do that.
So the way we used to get our nutrition in the traditional sense is changing. It's changing a lot.
Well, it sounds like the operating word in this discussion is change.
Change. It is.
Change.
Change.
And there's a saying that everyone wants it, no one wants to do it.
Right.
So it looks like, though, we're being dragged into change.
Oh,
and it
yes.
has to happen because of the
Because there's
nature
so
of
many of
the
us.
nature of the
business and the
demographic
sheer-
has
the
shifted
sheer
so
number of
much.
people.
Yeah. Well, I really thank both of you for being here, and feel free if you'd like come again sometime. When more change comes, feel
There'll be
free
more
to
change.
feel free to let me know, and we can do this again.
Thank you.
And Karen, I thank you, and you really do have some real responsibility with this because I'm sure you keep an eye on to
Well,
see.
we like to be supportive, and
Yeah.
they have quite a bureaucratic overlay over them.
Yes,
So it's everything they can do to be more real with people.
Right.
And they're very good at that,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we appreciate
Well,
that.
that humane piece really shows through because even in how you talk about your clients or your consumers, it shows through that there's a humane piece in there. Don't lose that because that's so important.
Yeah.
And I, well, like I said, I really appreciate your coming. What's that number again?
382-8481.
And you're located where?
We're located in the Schaefer apartment building on Knott Terrace, Suite 305.
And
And
ask
it's accessible, handicapped.
and ask
accessible.
for Lori.
And ask for Lori, I'm the manager.
Oh,
I can help
okay.
direct you wherever we need to go.
All right. Thank you so very much, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the challenges and as we move on into the aging population.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.